Yes.
Now, I know you have a lot of submission about this issue because behind the scenes we have had a few discussions on this matter. So first off, what do you make of the removal? First of all,
You know, the headline says there are legal and ethical issues
Exactly.
to this procedure.
Yeah.
And, you know, to help us stay away from these shadows of political grounds, let's go into the law first.
Yeah.
We all understand that the constitution of this land allows or provides some means to the removal of the Supreme Court judge and even tribunal leads or heads. And these are clearly stated that on the grounds of incompetence or some infirmities or another area, what we call the stated misbehavior. And for long, removals of persons in these state positions have been not or they are mainly around the area of stated misbehavior.
Yeah.
So many legal practitioners are asking the question. The Constitution actually couldn't give any substantive meaning to the point stated misbehavior.
Yeah.
But let's move into this matter clearly here in this case. We have a petition from one citizen sends the government that, well, I want you to look at this petition and then remove the Chief Justice. It gets accepted. Government now has interest in the petition because there has to be an establishment of a prima facie case from that. So a committee is set up. The committee sits down and say, yes, there is a need for further review of this. A case has been discovered. At that moment, there were questions. What is the case? State the case against the Chief Justice at that time and allow the Chief Justice room for fair hearing, just as we do. The normal law of natural justice says that each and every person ought to be heard. But in this case, not to any other person within the state apparatus, the Chief Justice was denied.
Okay.
This is a position of high repute from the executive, legislature. The next is the judiciary.
Yeah.
And we all believe in the checks and balances and the power that creates a balance.
Yeah.
So there are balance of power within these three levels, and there's independence of institutional authority. So it is so appalling and saddening that today a procedure like this can be used, well mechanized, to remove a Chief Justice such swiftly. It was so swift and sudden, as if the destination was quite clear. The goal was quite clear. And therefore we had to put this together, just go and get it. Because questions are rising up. Let's start with this one. The counsel for the removed CJ, her lordship, Gertrude Torkornoo, was that in the review of these substantive evidence during the committee level, one item which was not considered was the travel policy for the Chief Justice, the Judiciary. What does it say? The committee ignored it. But the travel policy allows a CJ all of these things. Are the questions going at whether or not the CJ personally overlooked the policies and went against what the tenant in there was? Is that the point? Or was it that the CJ had taken honorariums or stipends or whatever the money is, overlooking what the standards are? We give room for these speculations because of the travel policy that has been overlooked.
Okay.
The former Chief Justice, her lordship, ladyship, Sophia Kufu, also expressed that appreciating the whole procedure it is quite surprising and unfortunate that this matter or this item carries that much weight and warrants such a very severe punitive action. Come on.
Okay.
Is government bent on removing her, or because the weight of the matter
Okay.
is not so much of weight for that matter called, or that grounds called stated misbehavior, because the law never explained or has not explained or given any preamble trying to explain to us what constitutes the ground called stated misbehavior. But let me just put this before you come in.
Okay.
There's what gives room, what also gives room for people to speculate that this government maybe is on a thread of power, or of power imbalance within these institutions. You know the movie Avengers?
Yeah.
The Endgame. You know, Thanos, the villain, was on a quest to acquire some rubies or some gems, and he wore them, and then he snapped. Boom. Ultimate power was what he was seeking, and he got it no matter what. He had to bring people down just to get the power he needed. Upon assuming office, the first target or the first action he took was to change the 5-star generals within the Ghana army, which was very sudden, and there wasn't any need for that. What caused the removal? Sheer power and authority as the executive. Secondly was the IGP. Now, thirdly, the Supreme Court Justice, the Chief Justice of all, a very revered high position that has now been belittled to the removal of a very quick removal without any, it's so quick that today we now understand how easy a Chief Justice of Ghana can be removed.
I don't think it is that easy.
It's very easy.
It's not that easy.
No, it's very easy. Just have somebody write a petition, bring it.
No, hold on.
And then we purport that we have prima facie case, and then we go and look at where and say, yes, upon this matter, we have removed you.
So I'm glad when you started your submission, you said
behavior.
we should go into the law.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Article 146 basically outlines that there should be a prima facie case, and then there should be a committee of inquiry, and then a recommendation to the president, who is bound to act. Okay. If you look at the process and what happened, on the day that the president received the recommendation from the committee, it was that same day he fired the chief.
No, I'm
justice.
not saying I'm not saying the law wasn't followed though. The law was followed, but you see,
good.
The grounds. It's about grounds. The gravity.
Yes.
The gravity of the prima facie case that is used to remove a chief justice is what is bringing all these attentions to bear.
So are you saying that those
grounds?
And so whatever the grounds are stated in the process, you think that they are not grounds enough?
No, they are all appropriate.
Great.
Yet the matter, you see, these are all factors, but what constitutes the factor is important. We call this situation when a Chief Justice has to fulfill his own travel policy, is being used against her and has been fed as warrant to remove her. That is the point. That is the point.
Okay, so
you have former Chief Justices and other legal luminaries around commenting that what we feel like this grounds used for the removal was as if we had to get anything at all to make a decision, because it doesn't seem to be a great an appropriate platform or matter to warrant the removal of a Chief Justice. That is the argument. That is the argument.
Your point is well understood.
Yeah.
My only concern is that it comes across to a layman that the Chief Justice is not what's the word? Is above the law. Okay. To a layman, that's how it sounds to me. If I didn't understand any bit of the law, that's how it will look like to me. So I do get your point, and I feel that in a certain sense there's a bit of of some grounds I agree with you on. For example, her being denied some opportunity for the hearing and all of these things. I agree to that.
Because see, if you deny her response, or if you deny her hearing on these matters, then one can say that then we're hell bent on removing her.
No problem.
There is a reason to every cause, and the arguments, I always say, who can help us debunk this argument that this ground was enough warrant? If not, there was willful intention to remove her, and anything at all could help us to do that, and then we cover it under the veil of celebrity behavior. Then we understand what's happening.
That is fair. So the point I'm coming from is, yes, she's been denied the opportunity for hearing, but she, as the Chief Justice, a custodian of the law, couldn't she know better that the things she's being charged for are things that she could have done better? Because it is clearly stated. Okay, what
you are now providing room for fair hearing. Why don't you hear from her side or what she had to say about these things you purport that she should have known better? Because you and I have no idea what the trial policy for the judiciary is like. Just as any other high position in this state has its own policy. So if we claim that she should have known better in doing the right things or observing due diligence or good faith in all of these policies, then we must give her the room for her fair hearing. Her to express herself why it went that way. But if it's denied, and then we conclude.
So I don't want to agree on that is the conclusion. But the point for me is that you see the people who were put in charge of the committee are equally judges. They are not ignorant of the law.
No, they are not all judges.
Not all of them.
The mixture of people.
It's a mixture of people. But certainly these are people who are not ignorant of the law and they know what they are. But definitely the president knows that these people are capable of interpreting the law and making sure that what must come out of it is what it is. So eventually, like I'm saying, it's an issue of couldn't she have known or couldn't she know better to act on what she was supposed to do? Yes, she's been denied a hearing opportunity, but here's the point. There's a charge. She could have known better. Beyond this, she even took the issues out of the country to external courts.
Because she felt that if she's being denied hearing, it is one of the it's a travesty against our democracy. So she went out there to seek help so she could be heard.
So why were those courts also not willing to hear those cases?
No, so it's a matter of jurisdiction. If you go to the ECOWAS court, which is currently on this matter, it has written to the Attorney General to also file their defense. And the defense of the Attorney General is that they will first of all want to assert the ECOWAS court's adjudicature on this matter. Have they got that jurisdiction to be able to interfere within Ghana's legal space? Which I feel it is a bit unfortunate on the Attorney General's side with his wealth of knowledge. You should appreciate that Ghana is a member of the ECOWAS states. So we are an economic community. On his passport, maybe he has a diplomatic passport, but we all know that we are all within the economic community of West African states. And therefore, ECOWAS, which is chaired by our own His Excellency, the President of Ghana, therefore has interest within the peace, security, and sanctity of the law within Ghana, and therefore needs to heed to ECOWAS's call to present their defense on this matter, because somebody needs to hear somebody out on this matter. It is unfortunate that we have come to this point where people of this country would have to see this as a bit unfair and unethical, because some matters of natural justice were overlooked.
Okay, right. Let me just go through some messages that are coming from some of our viewers. This one is coming from Amoakon from Legon, and he says the president only acted in accordance with our constitution, and the greater majority of discerning Ghanaians are in favor of the decision. This is our country, and this is our law.
That he
we have a positive leader in place, and we trust in his leadership. Okay. Now, beyond Amwakon's comment, I mean, I don't, well, when you check social media and all of these things, it just gives you a vibe that, yeah, indeed, a lot of people are in favor of all of these things. But the truth for me,
the point is...
No, let me make my point. So,
yeah.
so I understand where our is coming from, but it should not be an issue of...
Which majority of Ghanaians are of this
Exactly.
position.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, it may look
for
like
me,
a goodwill. I mean, this government, I always say that this government's goodwill is like an hourglass. It keeps dropping. The goodwill of this government and the ability it granted to take some decisions.
Yeah.
Well, it's not forever.
Yeah.
A time comes, Ghanaians will say, no, we don't agree with you.
Yeah.
This one is just one of them, because if you look at the effects this approach will have on the future of our judiciary in this country, I can outline them to you if you are done with the comment.
Okay, so the comment I was just trying to make is that I'm just trying to say that we shouldn't just conclude that a greater majority of Ghanaians are aligning with. For me, it is the law, because you see, anybody could be in the shoes of the Chief Justice tomorrow. So it's a matter of precedence. What you're doing today could be happening to you tomorrow, or your family member, your father, your mother, whoever it is. So I don't want to go by the tag that majority of Ghanaians are in support and all of those things. If the law was applicable and it was applied in the proper way, that's what is key for me, because if anybody finds themselves in that shoe tomorrow, it could be a big deal. Okay, so let me just go to this document that talks simply about the travel by the Chief Justice. So the Chief Justice shall be accorded maximum security and courtesies on all official travels. The Chief Justice shall travel with the aide de camp and protocol officer or any other person the Chief Justice may choose as a personal assistant, be it head of secretary or any staff or judge, as per the recommendations of the Professor Dora Francisca Edu Buando, Presidential Committee on Emoluments. The Chief Justice shall travel first class or business class where the former is. Okay, so basically this statement just outlines who is allowed to travel with the Chief Justice.
Yes. Was there any illegality caused here?
So one of the issues basically has to do with her traveling with her husband and daughter.
It's still illegally in there. Is it stated that she cannot travel?
So per this statement that I've just read, it is explicit who can be on a trip with her. Okay, so if she is being accused of financial whatever as a result of traveling with her husband and her daughter, okay, I do appreciate that she's been denied a hearing. But if there was no case on this matter, I doubt there would have been a committee set up to follow up on this matter and to do...
What is the case? So what's the case?
We have just gone through the case from the beginning of the submission here. Okay?
What's the case?
The committee found her guilty of financial misconduct.
Misconduct?
Yes, financial misconduct.
Out of?
Out of what?
Yeah, born in what? Backed in what?
So hold on, including charging state funds for personal travel involving her husband and daughter. And it's explicitly what I just read here.
And have this policy you have here is inadequate, I would say, respectfully.
Okay.
This travel policy you have here is inadequate.
Okay.
The travel policy in its entirety provides room for the CJ to go on these personal trips with family, persons of his choice. It stays clear. If we have
persons of her choice, as what? Because the statement tells you
as escorts.
Oh, no, hold on.
Yes.
Head of secretariat, secretary, or any staff judge.
That is one kind. That is an aspect of the policy. It is not just entirely. Would you think that a Chief Justice who really is well engrossed in their job will overlook such a principle and just act like this, knowing that it can come against her? Can you?
I can tell you yes, because we have seen it in the past. I mean, let's extend this matter beyond the Chief Justice. People in government, present and past, have done these things. You have seen. That's how come there's a lot of corruption when it comes to Africa and Ghana, to be specific. We have had cases where people have traveled, gone on stage travels on whatever, with their girlfriends, concubines, and other things. So it is not news.
Yeah, I understand you.
It is not news.
But not this case. the travel policy we're talking about is not just one clause that you just read.
Okay.
If we could get the entire clause, you will appreciate that it stipulates detailed wise what she can do in instances when she wants to travel, who she can pick along and she cannot pick along. So now is it a travel and who she picked along, or the monies that we're giving to her? Which is which?
So that's one part of the story.
Sorry.
The second part of it talks about the per diem allowances which were unlawfully paid and labeled a reckless dissipation of public funds. Okay, so there's money involved in this.
So you see, all of these are just situational. You're just classifying matters, but
classifying into what?
That's the point. Into what situation? What was done? Mention the details of it. I can just say yes, unlawful payment of per diems as a way to express myself. But what per diems? Are you saying that the Chief Justice would looked on and got monies paid to her which she knew was illegal, and she went up and is charged on? How can we appreciate this matter in that regard? We just add. So first of all, I think that we are not helping to bring out the clear facts of this issue. We're just using findings, just mere findings, to just destroy her image.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And so, you know what? I am very glad that this issue didn't end here, the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But rather the Equal Court is willing to give that fair hearing. And I believe that at that point, we all will appreciate if indeed this action taken by the committee, whether it was peddled by political influence or was done on true merit of good faith. But you see, let me just talk about these effects.
Okay.
We now have a precedent that has provided an inadequate ground for removal. I will say again, very inadequate. And it has gone a long way to erode, or it's going a long way to erode the judicial independence. The judiciary is independent, just as the power and check balances occur. And this action has taught some of us in this country, if some others don't really see the picture, that the judiciary is not independent. It's under the realms of the executive, who can choose to hold it, bend it, and any way he wants to do with it, because he has got a procedure to do it. And also, the dangerous precedent of the removal of the Chief Justice. Now we know what it takes to remove a Chief Justice.
Yeah.
And in any time, a Chief Justice removal could be displayed clearly on the face of the law. And therefore, just a committee, sit down, find something, and then we'll throw it up there. Again, the public trust in the judiciary is exposed. If this is how we go about it, then it goes a long way to weaken and make it porous. The judiciary is now porous because, therefore, what else can't we see again if it can be removed in this easy way?
I mean, I'm not cutting you short on this, but for me, I just want to see one final thing on this. When it comes to the wider implications in terms of the judiciary and the public trust, I think that it sends a strong signal. Okay.
You think
it sends a strong signal that even the most powerful legal officers in the country can be held accountable.
You think that the judiciary is as strong a power to the executive? You think they are under? Have you seen the kind of organogram before?
I've seen it.
How is it like?
I mean, I don't think that.
You think it's executive judiciary?
No,
How is it?
From the way I look at it, okay, they seem to be on the same level. But when you go into it, there's some that have to.
It is good that you appreciate it's lateral.
Yeah.
We are all on the same level.
Yeah.
There's institutional independence and powers that separate us.
Yeah.
The president is only a conduit referee who can only coordinate and facilitate the process. But in this case, what we are saying, or what is being said here, is that the strength of the object to remove a Chief Justice must be one that goes beyond reasonable doubt. Very objective. This one lacks objectivity on the grounds that if you convict the CJ of such misconduct or misdoing, and you do not get to understand the realms of that matter, and you base that to remove her, I mean, that's me speaking legally. Now back on the normal layman space, we all know that Thanos must acquire power eventually. You should continue.
So
the question becomes, who's next?
Well, we'll find out.
We hope that will be the end.
We'll find out.
We hope.
But for me, in the entirety of this matter, a precedent has been set, and we'll see where it goes.
So basically, and I believe that for the law to have its rightful place in this country, things ought to be clear with the law. The factor or the ground, still misbehavior, ought to be explained further. In fact, there's more cause for there to be more clarity and concise view of what it takes for one to commit or go against misbehavior, or what does it mean to misbehave as someone within the public office. What are the constituents? Because if that is not clear, anything can warrant the threshold of removal of a CJ, which may not be its appropriate strength, but it could be used.
Okay.